that leaves us with the last position, and this is the one big miss on defense,
Huge.
and that is
this is
safety.
the glaring hole on defense. I mean,
safety.
Defensive class as a whole is fantastic. It's fantastic, but this is the glaring hole.
Right.
They missed at safety, and you mentioned it, and I was going to mention this when we got to safety, but Bellamy is kind of a tweener. He's kind of a corner, could be a safety.
He was meant to be a jack of all trades kind of guy, and now he almost has to play safety.
No problem bringing him in like that. I have no problem with the staff doing that, but they needed a safety. Like they needed a straight up safety so that you could have that flexibility. Now he's stuck at being a safety. Like, I shouldn't say stuck, but because the numbers already weren't great at safety,
it's a little tougher, right?
It's tougher to move him around if need be. Now, when they had already lost out and it looked like they were only going to get Bellamy, that was really before they decided to move Henderson and they moved Watts. And you know what I mean? Like that eases the pain maybe a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's still rough for me. It's still rough for me.
I went C+, and honestly, I was probably being generous. But at the end of the day, it's about what are the staff's needs.
Yeah.
And they decided, now they could end up being wrong, they decided after Nwankpa that there was no safeties worth recruiting in this class. And a big part of that is because of Ramon Henderson and Xavier Watts. Well, you have to understand, Ramon and Xavier were freshmen in 2020, which means
COVID year.
They're still freshmen.
Right.
So you've got basically 4 freshmen at safety. And now you're adding Jalen Bellamy. Like, to me, I would have said, yes, but you needed a higher quality safety. That would have been my argument.
Sure.
So, it's partly why I'm a little bit more – I think Jalen Bellamy is a good football player.
Sure.
He's one of the lower ranked guys in this class, but that's saying something because this is a really, really good class. He's a 3.5-star, borderline top 300 to 350 kind of player. Tough, athletic, but he's got some potential. He's got some tools. He's a pretty raw guy. But, the C+ comes down to I feel like I respect the decision to not panic.
Yeah.
And take a kid just to take a kid.
And they've done that in numerous places. And it feels like a trend, which is a good trend. Like I don't. You
got to be careful. Like you can't do what the Clark Lee did,
right? And not take anybody
strike out, right? Because they did. They took Jaden Bellamy,
right.
And so you can't go over in a class. I'm not saying that.
Agree with that.
But I probably was a little generous, but I just feel like Jaden's a solid football player. He's a versatile football player. He can run.
Yeah.
And the need wasn't great. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with the safety group.